Okay, this is the XJO, and as usual, we've got our lines, big lines from the pivot high here to this pivot high here, pivot low to pivot low, and I might just put a look at the fibs on there, and that's taken from those two pivots. We had the 38 fib, which it was, hang on, we'll zoom in a bit closer. There it is. That was trapping the price underneath there, and we've got the 50 fib up there if it wants to get up there, that we can have a look at as well. What else can we see? I've taken just marked off a couple of high volume bars just as potential support resistance lines. We also have, at the moment, we have a higher low and a higher high. So we do have a uptrend since our little crash here. We've also broken down out of this steep downtrend line here at the moment, so we might come back and retest that. We'll just have to see. We'll go bar by bar since the crash. Okay, high volume down, closing on the low, not good, but the next bar closes up after dipping down further on very high volume. So smart money, very active, close high, so there must be buying in there to for it to be able to close high. If it was all selling, then surely we would close on the low, and that was the panic sell off there, and the pros were just sitting under there getting filled while the world was going to hell. But anyway, next bar up thrust, so they weren't really interested, and we go up on a bit of no demand and an up thrust, and that knocks us back, and they push further. Even though there's buying in there, there's also a lot of selling, so I want to see that selling reduced to take it up. So it gets pushed down further into the bar. We never quite make it to the bottom, and then volume kicks in, and up she goes. And a lot like the Dow Jones. It's actually ours isn't quite like the Dow Jones. Ours, we've got high volume kick in at the low there, and then moved it up, and that's, well, we got a bit of no demand, it wasn't, but then we got low supply, so we got a combination of strong and weak bars, but that low supply has been confirmed by the next bar up, pushing up. So that's actually looking quite good at the moment. Now, where is it stopped? There, let's have a look. Well, it stopped on the top of the channel there, so you'd expect it to come off now a bit, and it's actually come and tested the middle of that channel as well, so that's good. So low supply, low volume down, so there's no selling pressure as it came down, and then the next bar going up confirms it on increased volume. So you got that looks okay, I think. Actually, I sold it off in the top here when it hit the top of that channel, so it might come back and test again, and we've got a couple of lines there. It might come and back to test too. We've got those pivot lows there as well, but that looks okay. We've got some overhead resistance at the top there. I might just draw a fib from the high there down to, oh, wrong. High there to high there. And so it's just got a bit above the 50 fib, and then dropped back below it. So the 61 fibs at 4513 roughly. But anyway, we can. So I think that's okay. So there must be accumulation happening down here. See, look, high volume down bar. No, it wasn't. It's actually an up bar, but it pushed through. So there's a lot of buying in these bars, and you'd expect that, a lot like the Dow, to there to be some payoff or some investment in some higher prices. But well, Just zoom in on the daily chart. So there's our downtrend line there, and we've peekabooed above there now. We've also, where have we stopped? We stopped right on this pivot high here at the 453. What is that? 4354 roughly. And we've up thrust that on increased volume at the moment. So that'll knock it back, I suspect. It's not, it's a weak bar. It's on increased volume, but it's not as high as it has been. But you know, that's a weak bar, so they're selling that off right from the get-go, and I would expect that to come back. But really, you're starting to. I've got this steeper channel here as well. We can look at that. Might just knock it sideways or bring it back a bit. We'll just have to see, and probably even they might come back and back test this channel here. I do expect it to come back, but it's not really. Now that we've started a bit of an uptrend happening, we've got to pay more attention to our weak bar, strong bars. So if they test immediately, like we get a low volume down bar, we've got a few, something like that, or even with a longer tail. It's a down bar on very light volume. That would show that they're testing that weakness immediately after encountering it, and that would actually be a bullish sign. So we'll just have to see what we get on Monday. It might be they might come right back to the middle of this channel too. We definitely got some high volume areas there that never really got tested properly. We've got one there, but you know, that's a way. They did actually come back and test over here. See, as it come down, really low volume, the close was compressed. It went up even though it was on lighter volume again. It was a widespread, so not a proper no demand. That's looking okay. I think it's just gone to the top of a channel now, so you'd expect some profit taking to happen. And we'll just have to see what they do on them. Looks like they were anticipating some sort of red day on the Dow, and we didn't really get it. We got a quiet day, and we don't really know if it's a if the Dow's giving us a no demand or no supply. It's just giving us a no activity at the moment. So we'll just have to see what happens there. But that looks okay. But I think it will come off, and then we can have a look again where it comes off to. We'll just have to see. So that's looking okay, I think. What else can we have a look at? We can I'll probably go to Pro Real Time, and we can have a look at some pitchforks and things just to give us some idea. There's our weekly chart. It's a big pitchfork, and it's probably not that useful to us, except I notice I'll just draw a line through there just so I get the. If I move that over to that low, see it's tagging, and it's respecting that parallel. Those parallels work. If I copy that over to that's following the channel there, following basically parallel to the lower tine there. So that's interesting, isn't it? I wonder how far we can go up. Copy that up to there. Look, there we go. There's another one. I'll copy that up again. There we go. So it's that parallel is being respected. It breaks down here. So that's interesting, isn't it? Now let's have a look. Go back again. But anyway, that might give us some lines to look at. If it gets further up, look, it's tagged that now. So there's our channel there. So that looks okay. Probably play with some fibs on here as well. I'll just get rid of these lines so I don't have too many on there. we do the fib retracement from the all-time high up here, that's the extension, there we go. We've got our 38, we've got our 23, which we've sort of bounced from. We've got our 38 just above us. And we've got our 50 is at our other highs. So that's there's that one. Then we have, if we might do a reverse fib from this high to that high. So that gives our 161 retracement back up, takes us to this pivot high here. So that's a potential target if it wants to keep kicking on. What else can we do? We can probably do an extension from that low to that low up. We have the 23, the 38, the 50 takes us close to that 161. 100% takes us to the highs. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? That 100, the 100 takes us up to the highs. Yeah, that doesn't. I mean, there's fibs all over the place in there, but we can. If this were to retrace now, that's probably the one we really want to look at. We could probably take from this recent low there, and the 38 would take us. The 50 takes us back to the lows of this congestion area there. And we've got the 38 and 23 would take us on top of there. So we're just going to have a look. And even if it went to the 23 or the 38 and tested this lower tine here, then that would still be looking quite good, I think. Otherwise, if it wants to kick on from there, I would be still looking at. I'll be looking at those two, the low and the first pivot high. That should give us some good pivot points going up. Okay, so that's the weekly. I'll have a look at the daily. Daily's all messy because I've mucked around with it. I'll get rid of those. Go back to the weekly and take my lines off, otherwise it's going to look really messy. Because they carry over to my weekly, to my daily chart, and it's already messy. Okay, we'll go to the daily. What have I done there? There's our longer term uptrend. They've got this black pitchfork that's we've had for ages. It's broken down and respected the second warning down here. And I'll take some off so I can just go through them again. So we had this bigger pitchfork here, it broke down, back tested, and then dropped all the way to the second, found support along the second warning line. It's come back, tested and dropped back through. It's trying to get through there now. It's up thrusted at the moment. So that might come back through and then have another go. We'll just have to see. That looks okay. I think get rid of this one here. And then what I've done is I've drawn another pitchfork there, which it seems to be missing the median line a bit, but it's a pretty steep pitchfork, having said that. But it's edging closer there, isn't it? We've also got a steep one that we had over here. That low, that high, that low. So an Andrews pitchfork is just, you go low, high, low, or high, low, high to get them. And there we go, we've up thrust the median line, so come through. So it's still oscillating around that median line. It's pretty steep though, but it's still valid, and something we can watch if it wants to come back and test. I would imagine they may come back and test this longer term downtrend line that they've respected that, and they may want to test to see if that's still okay, and that would take us down to that lower time. But if they just test immediately and we get really light volume coming down, then that would actually be bullish, and it can run again. So now that we're in an uptrend, we've got some of these uptrend channels going, we've got to pay a bit of attention to our strong bars when they appear. We've also got a repeating range there we can have a look at. There's one there. So it's probably due to come back. Where else does that repeat? It does repeat. We've got bigger ones, sort of does. But yeah, we've got our higher low, higher low, higher low. Got a higher high, higher high. So if it wants to come back and we see some bullish bars come back and test on top of this area of congestion, somewhere in this area, then you'd have to be bullish about that, I think. So I think that will come back, but we want to see how it comes back and where it goes back to. And if we can get another higher low there as well, I mean, that'd be good. They may test the breakout from this last pivot down here at the 4270, but and if we get some nice testing there, then that would just add to the strength of the chart. But it's looking okay at the moment, I think, apart from the last bar is really weak, and we'd expect that to come off. But I think overall it's looking okay. There's definitely a lot of accumulation. We'll go back to see, look, there's our high volume down, closing high, 3 days of it. And then they spring up back above there, push back through, get really high volume here, but then they spring back above that. So there's a lot of absorption, there's a lot of supply there, a lot of selling pressure, but the buyers have absorbed that selling and enabled it to spring like it has back up. So you'd expect that they want higher prices to be able to offload that stock, and they might need some buying pressure to do that. And to get that buying pressure, they may have to drag it up higher to attract the public back into the market, because I think they've taken out quite a bit of the public in this area here, and that's why we've been able to rise on lighter volume going up, because there's just been no selling pressure at all. And that's I think that's looking okay at the moment. It's just the last bar is a problem, and I expect that to come back, and then we'll see what they do. If they test immediately, then they'll fly again, or it might come back. They might want to bring it back and test some of these breakout areas, especially on top of this one here, on top of the breakout they just made. They might even be trying to absorb supply from trap holders to the left. You don't know, and they can keep going as well, because we've got that level there. So I have a lot of trapped holders and a lot of weakness we've got to work through, so you can catch supply. It's not always professional selling. Sometimes the professionals are trying to absorb selling from the public who are still holding after being locked into the wrong side of the trade. But really, I would expect that to come back and test now somewhere, and yeah. So I think that's looking okay at the moment. Anyway, that's the XJO.